Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Sam and I are happy to have, for the first time this season, Mike Bottomley.
Hello.
Sam, welcome him officially.
Yeah, well, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Glad.
We've missed your smiling face.
Glad to be here.
Mike is coach of the boys' soccer team at CHS. And, well, Mike, when we scheduled you, we were hoping we would have better news, but kind of ran into a bandsaw during the sectional.
Yes, didn't turn out the way we wanted to.
Okay.
But we had a pretty decent year, finishing 11-5-1. Had a great draw for sectional. I couldn't draw it up better myself. We got a bye first round. Played Shelbyville second round. If we would have won that, we would have went in for the final game. But Shelbyville was a little bit too much for us, and they beat us pretty handily, 4-0.
Well, a few games that you went scoreless.
Yeah. We had a little problems this year scoring, actually.
Okay.
We scored 50 goals on the year, which isn't too bad. But the problem is, I was looking at it today, we have one game we scored 14 and one game we scored 7. And if you take those two games out, we only averaged 0.6 goals a game for the other 15 games. So it looked like we scored some points this year, but it was mainly in a couple games.
Okay.
So the last 3 games of the year, we got shut out twice and scored 2 goals. So we knew coming into that game it was going to be a struggle. But our defense been pretty good all year. I didn't think we'd give up 4 goals.
You played at Greenfield, the sectional.
Yes.
And it's a larger field. Why not the field standard?
Not for sure. I assume just because that soccer was put in the 90s, and not all schools has properties for these big soccer fields, which is size a little bit bigger than a football field. So they have a minimum and a max size of field, and sectionals tournaments are played on the big fields. We're a little short on our field. We're a little bit, length is a little short and the width is a little short. So it is a smaller field, and I don't want to use that as an excuse.
Yes.
But it's a different game. We played Shelbyville on our own home field and beat them 2-0. It was a much different game on a bigger field, which we knew it was going to happen because of their formation, and their 3 forwards are very, very good. They have a lot more room to run now, and we knew it was going to be tough. On our field, it's an advantage for us against good teams because you can keep them together. It's easier to defend them. But it does hurt when you go away and you play on big fields against good teams.
How many teams that you play have the larger fields? Very many?
I hate to put the school on the spot, but our field is probably the worst field on our schedule.
Okay.
Size and condition. They've been trying the last couple of years to make improvements, and I know there's some improvements coming, which would be nice. But a lot of the fields we do play on are the official size, or we play on football fields.
And the football field is close in size?
It's real close. It's a few yards off.
Because I know, like, some of them where we've gone to do football, you can see the lines, but it's artificial turf typically is what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Schools that have artificial turf for football use that also for soccer.
They use them as multi-purpose fields, which is nice. They can use them for, Pee Wee football, boys and girls soccer, football, so you can use them for a lot of different things. And they hold up good. So.
How'd you do in the conference?
We finished 3rd. We came down to the last weekend against Batesville. If we beat them, we would have came in 2nd place, and we lost 1-0. So they came in 2nd. We placed 3rd. So overall, I think it was 5-2 on the year in conference.
3rd out of 8's not.
No, we had a good start. We had a really good start of the year. We started our first 10 games. We was 9-1. We were doing pretty well. Went to Richmond, and they beat us pretty handily. Then we won a couple more games. And in the last few games of the year, we kind of quit scoring at all. And we played some really good teams and got beat a few times with like 3 losses at the end of the year. So we didn't end very well. But we also played a little bit better teams at the end of the year.
Okay.
So a lot is to do with your competition.
You have 6 seniors?
Yes, we have 6 seniors this year. Good group of kids. I hate for them to leave. One of the better groups we've had. They're all going to be fine young men when they grow up.
And how many on your team? Like 30?
We started with 32 kids on the team this year.
So that means you have 26 coming back, or?
Yes. We have 32 came out. We filled a JV and a varsity. We finished with 32, which is nice. No one quit. We usually try to fill about 16 kids on each team. We had a huge freshman class this year. I think we had 15 freshmen come out. That's a lot. We actually had to cut a few kids because you can't play more than 32 kids. You know, since having 40 kids on the team, they're not going to play. Mainly due to 15 freshmen. Normally you get 5 or 6 kids each class each year. So the future looks really good with those kids because they are, even though, you know, number sometimes doesn't count, but the quality is very good of what the kids that we have coming in.
What do you look for in a soccer player? What are the attributes you want to see?
Well, you can't teach speed and quickness. So
Okay.
it's nice to have that right up front, and especially for defenders. Example, we got a junior this year who's never played soccer, Brent Gray. He played baseball player. He thought he'd come out for soccer, and he came up during the summer, really athletic, really fast, really quick, but couldn't dribble a soccer ball or pass a soccer ball. But by the time mid-season, he was athletic enough, competed enough where he was starting at sectional time.
Good.
And we're looking for him to come back next year for an even better year for us.
What other sport do you like for them to participate in that helps when they hit the soccer field?
We like for them to do other sports. Basketball is a great fit.
Okay.
Basically, you're playing in soccer, you're playing with your feet, same concept. Basketball with your hands, but it's all the same concept of team sport, passing, and those type of things. So, and it's also good conditioning for them. You know, cross country is great, but we have some baseball. We got a little bit of everything. We got a couple wrestlers on the team, baseball players, basketball players, a lot of basketball players on this year's team.
You talk about hands. You can't use your hands in soccer, Mike.
No, but I was comparing basketball and soccer. Basketball, use your hands. Soccer, use your feet.
Okay.
But offense and defense, similar.
Defending, all that stuff. It's pretty good. Communication and all that. So it's a good fit for the two sports.
How long has John Reynolds been your assistant?
This is my 10th year, and this is his 8th year with me. So we've been here for a while. Been through a lot of different senior classes, and it's been a good time with him.
I know you're proud of these youngsters this season. What was your best season? How far? What year did you go far into the post?
Well, the last 8 years, we've won 96 games. The last 8 years, 2 sectional titles, and 1 year, I can't remember the year, but we was undefeated regular season 1 year. And believe it or not, that's the year we didn't win sectional. we lost a game in sectional, but we've been pretty successful the last 8 years, me and John.
Yes, good program.
Youth program's been helping us out, getting kids in that has played soccer all their life, so you don't have to teach. You don't have to start with the basics. You can start going into a little more in-depth things in practice. So it's been nice. You know, John's really involved with the youth program, and so it's been a good fit so far. And then with this freshman class we got coming in, it's probably the deepest 15 kids I've coached from top to bottom. So we're really anxious here in the next couple of years. Even though we lost 6 seniors, we return. I think we returned 9 kids that played over 400 minutes. So we feel pretty comfortable next year.
Sounds like a good returning squad. No middle school soccer, but your feeding program is the Saturday morning park.
Well, we have the rec, but they also have some travel leagues that the older kids play in.
Okay.
So that's like these 15 kids, these freshmen all played for the last 3 years in travel leagues. Some played in our rec leagues, but we actually have the Fayette County Soccer Club and the rec leagues.
Okay.
That kids can pick and choose. But I think the rec league stops at age 10 or 11. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
It's been a couple of years since I've been involved.
I live out that way, and always on Saturday mornings, a lot of kids over that soccer field. I mean, hundreds of them, it would seem. So it's a very growing, up and coming
Yes,
sport.
yes.
It's just good conditioning for the kids, getting out there, run. I mean, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it's a good sport to throw your kid in, age 4, 5, and 6.
Sure.
Because they do get out there, run around.
Sure.
Don't need a whole lot of skills at the beginning, but they seem to have fun with it.
Have you had any players gone on to college and done pretty well?
We just had one, and he played keeper at a few different small colleges. He's graduated already, but he didn't do Brett Levi a couple years ago, I think 2011, 12. He's probably been one of our better keepers that we've had in the last few years, and we've had some pretty good keepers.
Yes.
Are there opportunities, scholarships available for kids that excel at the next level, like there are in, I know.
Yeah, there's scholarships. Well, I mainly tell the kids, you got to have your grades. That's where you get most of your money anyway, especially the smaller schools.
Sure.
Division I schools, yeah, there are scholarships, but they're very hard to get. We are in a disadvantage in this area. There's not a lot of club teams, and most of these scouts, they really don't go to high school games. They go to club games in Indianapolis area, Cincinnati, Dayton area. We're just kind of sitting out here. It's hard to, kids drive an hour and a half to play
Sure.
soccer. So, I spoke to a few different colleges. Anderson University's one. I come down looking at our kids, and one bad thing is their season same time as our season. That's another reason why they go to club. But they typically don't do a lot of visiting high school games until the state tournament times, or up in the Carmel area, those type of places. But they don't visit around here. One good thing is Richmond's IU East added a soccer team this year, so hopefully. I know Peyton Kiefaber, which is a senior this year, is talking about maybe walking on, checking it out, see if he can make that team.
I hope so.
That's nice that there's a soccer team getting a little closer. So that's
Yes,
nice.
right. That's great. We're Mike Bottomley's our guest here on tonight's show, and we'll be speaking with Mike about soccer and a little bit later. Right now, we might talk about the Spartans in Lawrenceburg. Sam, Friday night, Lawrenceburg
night.
came to town, and the Tigers are hard to tame.
They certainly were, and they played that song "Eye of the Tiger" before the game. I kind of wondered about that, but we knew coming in that it was going to be a tough game. Lawrenceburg.
Right. You can't make mistakes against
No,
a
you
team
can't.
like Lawrenceburg.
They had only lost one game coming
Yes.
in, and that was by 1 point to East Central,
Right.
cross-county rival.
Yes.
And they're just a good football team. The week before, they'd put up 70 points over at Rushville, and they came in and scored 49 here at Spartan Field. So Spartans had their hands full. Spartans, some miscues and some things.
Right. If they had an opportunity early in the ball game when they had the ball deep in Lawrenceburg territory, couldn't
Early,
push it
I thought
in.
defensively we played well.
I thought so.
And
I thought so.
a lot of times our defense looked pretty
Yes.
good. But once again, turnovers and big plays, big breakaways that we've seen. It seems like the games that we've lost this year, it's kind of been how it is. But Spartan's still 4-4 on the season, and we'll have another opportunity.
I thought scoring twice with a little over a minute delay to go in the first half was
That was a killer, and that
right.
I thought if we could have gone in, and it looked like we were maybe
Right.
going to go in 14 down at
Right.
halftime. It's still manageable, but as you said, I think there's a minute 3.
Yeah, they put
They
two
put
scores.
yeah
They put one on with a half a minute, second
half
left.
a second,
I mean,
and that one was called back, and he threw that pass, and a beautiful pass. And Lawrenceburg doesn't pass much, but I guess when they do, they hit their target. So right there in that far corner.
TV3 was at the game. We have some highlights right now. We'd like to show them to you from the Lawrenceburg Spartan game Friday night at Spartan Stadium. This is the opening ceremonies. It was pink out night along with senior night. Spartans are coming onto the field.
Yeah, another nice crowd on hand for that, and of course Pink Out Night, breast cancer awareness and all that. A lot of spirit. And
their quarterback number 10 was sort of hard to stop.
Yeah, Adam Bird, he able to take it in. You're right, he was hard to stop.
Yeah,
there they go again.
Is that number 7? I think so.
Yeah, Mason Paris. They're 7:27 to play in the second quarter, and he took off. And there is that pass with a half a second to play right into the end zone.
Yeah, it's time.
Put Spartans down 28-0 at half.
Yeah, instead of 14-0, it should have been.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it would have been, but it wasn't.
And there you have the halftime ceremonies, and Spartanettes
did a good job.
And
some of the seniors' night festivities. We had 61 seniors recognized in the 7 fall sports.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that's all coming to an end. There's another Lawrenceburg score, and that would be their final score of the evening, and Spartans would be able to get
a nice pass from Adam Kelly. Donovan Foreman, who took it in.
Yep, and
no, it was Dalton Boyce, right?
Dalton Boyce,
Dalton Boyce.
First score. Spartans had gone scoreless in 7 quarters prior to that. So
yes, we
that
pointed
was
that
much
out.
needed going into this week when they traveled down to Batesville.
Yeah, Batesville. I put them as number 3 in the conference. I put East Central and Lawrenceburg almost tied for first.
Yeah.
And I had either Franklin County and Batesville as the next team, but when Batesville defeated Franklin County, I said, Batesville, you're number 3 in the conference.
I think so, and I was a little surprised by that. Franklin County, I was impressed with them when
absolutely
we played them, and Batesville defeating them shows that they are for real also,
yes.
And that's Spartan's Friday night opponent coming up.
Yeah, Batesville's 5-3. They won over Franklin County 29-22. They'll be going to the ball game with a 28 offensive average point and a 26 defensive average point. And Franklin County is now 5-3 after that loss to Batesville. Rushville is 0-8. They lost to South Dearborn 42-21. Union County is 4-4. They lost to Centerville 38-20. Centerville, that win was their 6th. They are 6-2. Cambridge City is 1-7. They lost to Northeastern 26-0. Richmond lost to Anderson 32-13, and the Red Devils are 0-8 on the season. Batesville has a quarterback, a junior called Trey Heidlich. Does that name ring a bell? Mm-hmm. I remember him from last year.
Yeah.
And I've done some checking, and this guy has made 97 of 159 passes for 1,425 yards. And he has carried the ball 126 times for 807 yards. So
chalking up some big numbers. Spartans will have their hands full. But,
absolutely.
But
yes.
It's not insurmountable.
No.
They can go down there and play their game and come home above 500 on the season.
That'd be great. Yes. But it'll be a battle, though.
It'll be a battle, but I think a good contest for the Spartans going into tournament play the following week. But you want to win all these games, and
sure.
Certainly they're capable of winning down at Batesville. But you also want to play some tough teams so that you're battle tested going into the sectional.
Mooresville, that will be the opponent for the Spartans on October 20th in the section opener. They are 0-8. They lost to Martinsville 51-30, and their final game Friday night will be against Beech Grove. Have you had a chance to see the Spartans football team, Mike, much?
Yeah, I've seen them play 2 or 3 games, the home games.
your impression of them? I mean, Sam and I were talking. The kids never gave up in any game, played hard.
No, they play hard. I think sometimes their size hurts them. They got some good, skilled offensive players. They do have a young quarterback. Future looks good with him, but they put it all out in the field. And
Yes.
One thing about teenage boys, you never know what you're going to get. So, you know, they have a chance against Batesville.
I think so. The Bulldogs, they're due for a loss. So, Sam, it's your job.
We'll
I mean,
bring 'em home. Dave and I will bring home a winner, and like to see a big crowd down there from.
Oh, I
from
think
Connersville to
there'll be a
support
big
them, 'cause
following.
I think that helps, and Coach, I'm sure that when your players see people standing on the sidelines watching, that helps pump them up as well. I think that'd be true in any sport.
Oh, yeah, we've always had good following. The
Yes.
kids know that. They want to play harder. And they see a big cheer block. And I know most of my soccer kids go to the games and part of that cheer block. So,
Yes.
And the football team's been to our games and formed a cheer block. So the boys all support each other. And we just want to see Spartans win games. So it's all a good thing.
The cross-country regional is at Rushville at 10 o'clock this Saturday morning. The weather looks good Friday night for the football, and also Saturday for that. And the Spartans, as the boys' team, will be entering the regional as a team because they secured 5th place in the sectional. So those guys get to play, participate as a team. Wes Smith and Adam Brandt finished in the top 10 of the runners, and other members of the boys' squad are Kyle Downard, Dylan Combs, Peyton Caldwell, James Smith, and Trevor Hucks. The girls, they just missed qualifying. They missed the 5th place, but they did have several girls that are qualifying as individuals, and they are, let me see if I can come up with their names here right quick. They will be Ty Beckner, Carolyn Arndt, Alexa McDonald, and Hallie Wilson. So that's coming up.
Best wishes to all those young folks.
Hopefully. Right.
Yeah.
That'll be great if they can pull off some victories over there. And the volleyball section will be at Greenfield Central starting at 12:30 Saturday afternoon, and the Spartans will be taking on Pendleton Heights. They played Pendleton Heights last week, unfortunately lost in 4 sets, but they get a second chance at them here, and maybe they can pull off a victory.
Yep, bounce back, and hopefully I can get that victory. Pendleton Heights, typically over the years in girls sports, no matter what it is, seems like they're very competitive.
Yeah, they do. They do a good job. And the middle school today, the final event of the fall season for CMS, and it's the 7th grade football team is at Rushville, and the 8th grade football team is hosting Shelbyville at Spartan Field. So those youngsters are wrapping up their season.
Winding down, be getting ready for winter sports, and got fall break coming up here, and I think week after next. So won't be long. We'll be talking winter sports.
2 weeks from Saturday at noon at Spartan Bowl, I suppose you know that Union County will be coming to Connersville and have a scrimmage with the Lady Spartans.
Yep. So, of course, their season's been moved up from what it used to be, and I believe, what is it, November 3rd or November 4th is the first girls basketball game.
Yes. At home here, right. They play Cardinal Ritter, I believe.
I believe you're right.
I think so. Mike, it was senior night, Friday night. I know the kids all enjoyed that and everything.
Yep, all 6 showed up, walked down, for their last. Well, some of them play other sports, so there'll be other senior nights for them at the other sports. But it's sad as a coach that last time with them,
Right.
to see him go because, Peyton Keith Faber, he is a 4-year letterman. He's been on varsity the past 4 years. Then Ethan Harris, he's also a senior. He's the last boy that I coach in wrestling and soccer. So he's the last of those kids. So I hate to see him go. Dalton Lee is another senior that we had, which he'll be playing basketball. And then Zane Spurlock was one of our defenders, and he's a swimmer, state swimmer actually. And then we have Cole Garrison, which is our senior keeper. Had a great year. He's going to be hard to replace, but we have pretty good freshmen, and Eli Judd that will, I think, fill his shoes next year. Because we return a lot of our defenders who have seniors out in front of them. And our last senior was Ryan Scott, which plays a little bit. He played a little defense, and they all was great kids this year.
As you say, you're sad to see him go, and I would think as a parent, when you go to senior night, you're thinking, gee, I can hardly believe that my child is in the final year of high school.
Yeah, and some of them don't realize, that may be the last time they ever play a competitive soccer game, you know, and sometimes they forget that until it's done. And soccer season is a fairly quick season. It's about 45, 50 days from the start of the first game to the last game. So it goes by quick. And these kids, we start working in February, some indoor stuff. Then we do some camps over the summer, open field, and we start the season. So we're with them a lot, and they work hard, and hopefully we can. I don't know if you realize that they did change classes for soccer this year. Went from 2 class to a 3 class.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and it was a little disappointing for our seniors because we really felt like the sectional that we've been in, we had a chance to win it, and we got moved into the bigger schools. So we're the smallest of the biggest schools. So now we have to go up to Greenfield Central, East Central, Shelbyville, Richmond, Mount Vernon, and New Palestine, which is comparable to our regional last year. So it's going to take some hard work to win that sectional now. But yeah, we just fell a little short, or a little too many kids. And
who was in the sectional before the class change?
Rushville, Richmond, Newcastle, and Franklin County.
Okay, so you're in this at least for 2 years, because it's
Yes.
2 years, every 2 years they reclassify.
Right.
And again, that's based on enrollment.
Yes.
But going from 2 classes to 3 classes, and if we're at the bottom of that, to ever win a state, you're competing against Carmel and Ben Davis and ones that have 5,000 students.
Yeah. So it is what it is. So we'll just play. Not complain, and we compete. We work hard. You know, when they get our field here in the next couple of years, it'll help us. So, like I said, we got a good group of kids coming in. So I feel happy and excited for the next year.
Yeah, I know you're very optimistic because of the number of youngsters coming back, and as you pointed out, a lot of them had experience this season.
Right. I think I played, 2 freshmen a lot, another freshman about 300 minutes, and then Eli, it's our backup keeper. He started 1 game and recorded a shutout in the game that he played. So I feel like we got some good kids coming in, and we should be able to compete.
Oh, I think so. I think next season should be a very rewarding one for you and everything. We might mention, too, that the girls' soccer team, they lost in their sectional play. And it was to New Palestine?
Yeah, I attended that game. It was 6-0. New Palestine was a really good team.
Yes.
The girls' team has really improved from the first game to the last game. I think they finished with 8 wins, which is more wins I think they've had in 3 or 4 years combined. Good. So Jeff Cooley really got them going in the right direction, and gave them some stability and some basics, and they really played well at the last half of the. And they're young also. They're better players, are freshmen and sophomores, and they I think they return pretty much most of their team next year. So
Mike, thanks a lot for joining us here on tonight's show.
Okay, you're welcome.